So, hi everyone, again, I'm Matt. I work on Adaptive Cards, and I'm only going to talk to you for a few minutes today just to set the stage to see something cool and how this is used in practice. Here's a quick lap around adaptive card templating. So when you build an adaptive card today, the content, as in the name Microsoft, the price here, all these values are within the card itself. And that makes it really hard to now reuse this payload because some of this content will always stay the same. This will always be a text block. This will be a column set. It'll always be extra large. But some of the content, like the text and these things, you want to be dynamically replaceable. And that's where a template comes in. So if I change this and show you what it would look like as a template, all those dynamically replaceable areas, for example, Microsoft, the symbol, the quote price, what was the open, high, low, you replace these with what are known as binding expressions. And they're highlighted in yellow there, but it's just a dollar curly brace. And that says, hey, then what do you want to bind this to? In this case, the name. And then you send the data, the dynamically replaceable stuff, as a separate payload. And with those two combined, you now get that original card that you had from the beginning. And there it is. So the one thing I'll mention that is pretty powerful, and if you've been following along with templating, we had some good updates a couple weeks ago at Build. So when you're writing a template, if you have the ability to change the data, you can make some pretty good stuff, but sometimes you don't have the ability to change the shape of the data. For example, maybe you're calling an external web service, or it's another part of your organization that is just a little harder to change the data. So sometimes you want the template to be able to shape the data and do more powerful things. For example, if conditions here. So if the price is up, I want to show an up arrow, or if it's down, I want a down arrow. And sometimes I want to format this value with 2 decimal places. Typically, humans read currency with 2 decimals. So this is massaging that decimal into some human readable, presentable thing. And that you can do at the templating layer with what we're calling adaptive expressions. And these will be standalone expressions that can be used inside of a template. And for all intents and purposes, it lets you build some pretty powerful cards. Adaptive expressions is a collaborative effort with the Bot Framework folks. And it's got hundreds, I believe, of just built-in functions, from formatting to parsing JSON to looping over data and all sorts of these powerful things. So you can actually write some pretty powerful stuff. So the last thing I'll show to get started, and Ojasvi showed you adaptivecards.io. This is where everything Adaptive Cards lives. And if you're familiar with Adaptive Cards, if you're not, the place I always like people to go to is the samples page. And once you're in samples, these are just some example adaptive cards. You can build a lot more. They're, again, just an example. And what you can do is turn on this checkbox, use adaptive card templating, and instead of a single payload, you'll get 2. So there's the data JSON, and there's the template down here, and I can click try it yourself. That loads up the adaptive card designer. If I click preview mode, it's going to show what that template looks like with this sample data. This just makes designing a card easy. And so, I can change this to, Tesla or whatever, and you'll see the card will update accordingly. So that's a lap around adaptive card templating. I'm sorry, that was the wrong one, but you get the idea, I think. And that's really it. So templating is in release candidate. We've been excited to release this, and it will be available to use in GA in the next coming weeks. It's available for .NET and JavaScript. And with that, I'll hand it over to Gabo, who used this in practice to build something pretty neat.